you know what, let's go a little bit old school. All these newfangled clans and bloodlines, I want to get nostalgic. So we should talk about Old Clan Tzimisce. What a convoluted way to tie this in. Old Clan Tzimisce is something I've been requested to do a decent amount, and follows up in my continual let's cover all the bloodlines inside of the Tamera or the True Black Hand. But before I start, I will preempt this right now. I am going to be saying Tzimisce. I mentioned this because in my main clan video, I get a lot of comments about how I pronounce this clan name, and each comment is very confidently saying a completely different pronunciation. I know, that's just the internet as normal. I could back my shit up just a little bit, because first and foremost, I'm American. I'm sorry, I know. But I'm gonna pronounce it in just the way I've heard it before and heard it said by other Americans. There's actually a video of someone at a convention asking a bunch of White Wolf people how to pronounce it. Everyone gives a very different answer. I'm just gonna play you a little example.
Hello, I'm Jason Carl from By Night Studios, and today's word is Tzimisce.
Okay.
Tzimisce. Tzimisce.
Okay.
Tzimisce.
All right, it's pronounced Tzimisce, or Tzimisce, or Zimzi, or Tzimisce.
It's really dependent on what language the person is actually assuming it's from, or where they come from. So this is a roundabout way of saying, if you have an issue with my pronunciation, sucks. I'm not changing it. I don't know, I've never been one to care about pronunciation, so I always find it kind of mildly amusing when I see it online. My metric is if you can understand what I'm saying and it's not like a person's name, I'm not gonna focus too much on it, I'm sorry. I don't know, just every time I say it, replace the pronunciation in your head with something you do prefer. But yeah, Old Clan Tzimisce, which is honestly pretty straightforward, I gotta be honest. It is an interesting spin-off, because Old Clan Tzimisce, obviously, they're older than what we currently have as the clan, because this is the part of the clan that did not go full Sabbat and did not hard focus on vicissitude or the flesh-changing discipline power they have. To cut a fun little crash course here, during the Anarch Revolt, there was a fella by the name of Glueboy, and what he did is this is during a time when the elders of each of the clans was just extra oppressive, and the blood bond was used pretty wildly by vampires to keep people in control. Glueboy used a ritual where he sacrificed 60 people and helped sever that blood bond, so then they could rise up against their elders, and specifically Glueboy, he actually diablerized the eldest, the antediluvian 4 clan Tzimisce. And it is from this that we have the current clan. Even more when it comes to vicissitude. This is a power that comes from a demon, or a talon of the worm, something. But primarily, this is a power that strengthened and became a really powerful thing. If you've seen my Tzimisce video, you will recognize this. The fella is named Kupala. I kind of like the idea that he's a demon because Demon the Fallen is fun. Glueboy used the power of Kupala, tapped into it to sever that blood bond, and so modern Tzimisce is a lot more okay and at least aligned with Kupala, which is another line in the sand for Old Clan Tzimisce. Now there is actually a slightly different story told by Old Clan Tzimisce on how vicissitude became a thing, which again, Old Clan Tzimisce, they don't fuck with that. They don't like it, which is really funny because there is a decent number of those members who like can use the discipline and have used it in the past. So Old Clan Tzimisce is basically all of the remaining members who did not take part in that whole Sabbat Anarch revolution. As well, a lot of the members of Old Clan Tzimisce are actually old as shit, like literally surviving from that time period. So they're like around 500 years old, give or take some more. They don't really embrace a lot of new kindred, so their members are pretty close-knit and at least isolated. A big place they still hang out are like the mountains in Russia and Transylvania. But if you have seen, which I do recommend for this video, honestly, my clan video on Tzimisce, they actually have a slightly different version of the story of how the eldest came to power with Kupala and how vicissitude became a thing. Because in that older story, the eldest and his boys, they all traveled to Transylvania, found this creature being defended by werewolves, which also means that's some evidence that it might be a talon of the worm. And pretty rightly so, the werewolves absolutely fought tooth, hair, and nail to keep the vampires away, but they lost. And it is from this creature that they got the power of flesh warping and flesh changing. Now, there is a different story where it tells of the days before the Great Flood, where the eldest was traveling, and he traveled to definitely like ancient Transylvania, what would later become that. He found a well. For some reason, he went inside the well, and in there he found an underground cave person civilization, just a big city underground. Found this group, they had weird creepy languages, they worshipped beings just like the eldest, and they really, really loved creepy rituals. However, the eldest, being a connoisseur, he said it was some weak pussy shit, and he taught them how to really get weird and depraved, just amping up all their rituals and work. Using this group, he also would embrace some of them, enlighten them, teach them the proper ways, and with this new group of enlightened kindred, he, with their help, chained Kapala. These members of this cave city would be the ones who became Old Clan Tzimisce, because they were the ones spared from the blood of Kapala, because the eldest took it in. And then the demon spread throughout the entire bloodline. Essentially like a really wide, strange possession, because the eldest had a plan. He has something in place, at least according to the Old Clan, that requires a giant amount of his clan members to be possessed by Kapala, or at least having this strong influence. And so, Old Clan Tzimisce believe that they are literally like the advisors, the trusted informants and confidants of the eldest. Which yeah, the eldest did reach final death. He was diablerized, turned to ash, but the Old Clan still believes that one day he can come back with the rest of his clan, because they view the entire clan, with all the blood and the vicissitude, as essentially moldable clay for whatever their antediluvian is planning. If he is going to come back, it is going to be through the basically sacrifice of everyone else. So they view the modern clan as like a bunch of sheep. They don't treat them as individuals. It is purely like, you are a lump total resource for our boy to come back. Though I will also say this whole sheeple thing isn't a complete universal belief for Old Clan Tzimisce. Not in a good way, in the way that some of the Old Clan actually believe the entirety of Clan Tzimisce are possessed by a creature known as the Asaku, or in much older editions, they're called the Soul Eaters. The Soul Eaters are basically an umbral parasite from like the deep, dark places of the Umbra that gets in ya and is one of the main enemies of the Talmera. However, V20 changed this because that's where we get the Asaku. It's a corrupting force for vicissitude. It is the idea that the flesh-changing power itself is corrupting, and a vampire can get obsessed with it. And it is treated more like an infestation than it is like a umbral parasite, but I think it's really neat. Their whole thing is they want to bring people more into flesh change, and they hate those who have flesh change that are not as far deep as they are. So I don't know if it's better than the whole you are Plato to our antediluvian. So you might think that's pretty harsh, and I think an honest first question is, how the hell are they getting away with being so harsh to the Clan Tzimisce? Well, the reason is because they're elders. They are old as fuck and very tight-knit. So these are very powerful vampires believing and spreading this and treating you like dog shit. So you're not really gonna step to it as like pretty high generation kindred. But they're also still just very tight-knit and isolated. Because like I said, they really hang out in like Transylvania and Russia, but in these very mountainous regions around that place. They actually have their own miniature vampire government known as the Arada League. I hope I'm saying that right. This is basically their belief that we should go back to the enlightened, beautiful days of the vampire dark ages, where vampires ruled with an iron fist, and it was whoever was the strongest, the best at schemes, and the most backstabby who was in power, and everyone else followed their instructions, because if you didn't, you would die. You know, the good old days. Which puts them in a position where they are significantly worse to deal with than the Camarilla. It is a vampire feudal system, and the Arada League specifically is an agreement between all of the Old Clan Tzimisce who are in charge in the area. It is an understanding that like, hey, we can be pieces of shit to each other, we can scheme, but if there's a actual unified threat against us, we will unify in turn. We all have to agree if we're going to embrace somebody, and there's just certain things we're not going to do. Which at least that part, I gotta say, is going very well. The problem is that these are ancient vampires, and they are petty as hell. Incredibly petty. Like I said, they'll still scheme against each other because they remember 600 years ago when another one of the old clan just shit-talked the blood bag they brought in. They found a bunch of nice, worthy sacrifices to drink the blood of, and then their other brother was just like, "Peh, I've had better. They remember that slight, and they will enact their revenge. They just act like the classical kind of vampire. In fact, they even make heavy use of the blood bond, where they are very happy to have one-sided blood bond relationships where you are on complete mind control and do whatever they want. You can make a perfect bodyguard by blood binding somebody and having them just instill perfect loyalty to you. They're totally fine with that. They find it fun. I think it's important to mention with the last Bloodline video I did being on the True Bruja, the actual like old clan Tzimisce is still a thing in 5th edition. It is actually a little bit expanded on, not in like, let's completely rewrite their lore, but basically just having them adapt to modern events. Because the Gehenna War is going on in V5, and so there's a beckoning of many different like Sabbat, Camarilla, Anarch, vampire elders all to the Middle East. Old clan Tzimisce sees this and finds it a perfect scenario to get their revenge. Because like I said, they are petty motherfuckers. It is the part of me that adores true hater energy. Because for them, they can look out and see that venturer who shit-talked a portrait of theirs when they so graciously allowed them into their nice, creepy castle. And they see this as a perfect opportunity with a power vacuum to instill their version of what vampire government should be. To do this plot, they actually instilled perfect hidden agents into Camarilla courts to infiltrate. I didn't want to do this joke. Because I want you to know, everything before V5, I was going to happily say, hey, guess what? The Arada League, and outside of their affiliation with the Talmei Ra, this is finally none other bloodline that is just a secret infiltration Illuminati group. Then V5 comes around, kicks the door in, and tells me, nope, actually it's another secret society that infiltrates other groups. Okay, I have lost count of the many different groups in WoD who do this, so someone remind me in the comments. Speaking of the Talmei Ra, I haven't brought them up a lot at all in this video, right? Yeah, so the reason is because outside of the fact they're affiliated, I'll be so honest, it is like a light mention. Like I've read the actual dirty secrets of Talmei Ra, like all this shit, and like it seems their only motivation in early editions at least was built into it. They just viewed it as a really nice vessel to kill all of the other clanmates of Clan Tzimisce and wipe out the taint that is vicissitude. Now, this has altered a little bit because the mentality on their clan has changed slightly. I think right now, especially in 20 and a bit more in 5, is a lot less of we need to wipe out all of Clan Tzimisce and a lot more of the sheeple allegations. Mainly because the other aspect for the True Black Hand is the idea of bringing the Antediluvians back, and that is the method. They are a doomsday cult for Gehenna, and so their idea of the eldest one day coming back using the blood of all the other clanmates, I'll say it's just not a lot, and I kind of fuck with it. It seems like it's a bunch of old vampires who are just like, yes, of course, we're affiliated, sure, and just kind of using the True Black Hand for their own petty purposes. The only other mention I found in those books is that they like the True Bruja because they're smart and nice to have around. So good for them, I guess. Because if we're being honest, what's more important than a millennia-long doomsday plot set in the underworld and something that requires Illuminati-level planning? Of course, it's 500-year-old grudges, dude. Like, fuck that Toreador over there. He called my decor tacky. But you know what? I really like old clan Tzimisce. I understand why people like him so much. Mainly, it is still just the hater shit. That moment I read that won me over, completely on their side. Spite is such a fun motivation. But anyways, that is going to be it. So first and foremost, I want to thank all my channel members who make all these videos possible. Thank you all so much. And a huge shout out to my top tier channel members. That being Eric Sheriff, Megas Cadron, Pork Chomp, SSJ Werewolf, and Czar's Shadow. Thank you all so much. Means a ton. And yeah, that is this video. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, join my membership. I got some fun things in the works, like I say all the time, and some fun things that have been released. So hopefully you guys enjoy the multi-hour videos I've put out in the last couple weeks. But anyways, see ya.